Alright, well, I'm going to start going through our Python tutorial. In 10 hours, we'll learn the basics of the world's fastest growing and most popular programming language used by software engineers, analysts, data scientists, and machine learning engineers alike. I can't remember the startup I was at, but they were looking for some really good JavaScript and Python programmers. So we'll go ahead and reset the 7% progress that I got and start working through the skills that are in demand for Silicon Valley. Hello world. What is this? Trial notifications this week. Stuff out of here. Programming is the act of teaching a computer to have a conversation with the user. It would be most useful to first teach the computer how to speak. In Python, this is accomplished with the print statement. Print, hello world, print water there is not a drop of water. Where Niagara, but a cataract of sand, would you travel 1,000 miles to see it? A print statement is the easiest way to get your Python program to communicate with you. Being able to command this communication will be one of the most valuable tools in your programming toolbox. Using a print statement, output a message if you're choosing the terminal. Print message of your choosing. This is me just being a smartass. Yep, that should be it. Run it. Boom, we got it. We need a hint. Your message. Next. Let's see, print statements. There are two different Python versions. Both Python 2 and Python 3 are used throughout the globe. The most significant difference between the two is how you write a print statement. In Python 3, print has parentheses. In this course, we will be using Python 2, which to my understanding is a lot more popular than Python 3. Not sure why, but is what it is. Print something using Python 3 syntax. We'll print something, and then we'll run it. Yep. Let's see what we got. Strings. When printing things in Python, we are supplying a text block that we want to be printed. Text in Python is considered a specific type of data called a string. A string, so named because they're a series of letters, numbers, or symbols connected in order as if threaded together by string. Take a drink every time I say string. Strings can be defined in different ways. This is a good string. You can use single quotes or double quotes for a string. Above, we printed two things that are strings, and then attempted to print two things that are not strings. While double quotes and single quotes are both acceptable ways to define a string needs to be opened and closed by the same type of quote mark. We can combine multiple strings using plus, like so. Print this is plus a good string. The code will print out this is a good string. Try adding your name to the print statement with the plus operator so that Python prints so that this Python program prints hello your name. Alright, hello. Let's say plus your name. Nah, alright, I'm done. Let's see if we run it. I don't even believe we're getting, you guys can see, terminal. Yeah, there we go. Boom. We got it. Handling errors. As we get more familiar with the Python programming language, we run into errors and exceptions. These are complaints that Python makes when it doesn't understand what you want it to do. Everyone runs into these issues, so it's a good habit to read and understand them. Here are some common errors that we might run into when printing strings. Print mismatched quotes will be a cause of syntax error. Without quotes will cause a name error. If the quotes are mismatched, Python will notice this and inform you that your code has an error in its syntax because the line ended called an EOL before the double quote that was supposed to close the string appeared. The program will abruptly stop running with the following message. Syntax error, EOL, while scanning a string literal. This means that a string wasn't closed, or wasn't closed with the same quote character that started it. Another issue you might run into is attempting to create a string without quotes at all. Python treats words not in quotes as commands, like the print statement. If it fails to recognize these words as defined in Python or by our program elsewhere, Python will complain the code has a name error. This means that Python found what it thinks is a command, but doesn't know what it means because it's not defined anywhere. We've written two print statements that will raise errors. One has mismatched quotes, and the other has no quotes at all. Fix the two programs to successfully debug the program. Well, these quotes don't match, and this has no quotes. So we can just change that. We don't need to save it. It's just habit from every time I write a file. Cooking, we're getting it. Variables. In Python, when programming in general, we need to build systems for dealing with data that changes over time. That data could be the location of a plane or the time of day, or the television show you're currently watching. The only important thing is that it may be different at different times. Python uses variables to define things that are subject to change. Greeting message. Welcome to codeCademy. Current exercise equals 5. In the above example, we defined a variable called greeting message and set it equal to the string welcome to codeCademy. It also defined a variable named current exercise and set it equal to the number 5. Create a variable called today's date and assign a value that will represent today's date to that variable. I don't even know what today's date is. Today's date and assign it equal to today's date. Let's call today the 10th. I'm sure you guys will let me know what it's called and what it is in the comments if I'm wrong. Okay, arithmetic. One thing computers are capable of doing exceptionally well is performing arithmetic, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and other numeric calculations are easy to do in most programming language, and Python is no exception. Some examples. Addition, all that good stuff. Above are a number of arithmetic operations, each assigned to a variable. The variable will hold the final result of each operation. Combinations of arithmetical operations follow the usual order of operations. Python also offers a companion to division called the modulo operator. The modulo operator, which we saw in JavaScript, is indicated by this little percent sign and returns the remainder after division is performed. Is this number odd? 15 modulo 2. Is this number divisible by 7? 133 modulo 7. In the above code block, we use the modulo operator to find the remainder of 15 divided by 2. Since 15 is an odd number, the remainder is 1. We also check the remainder 133 divided by 7. Since 133 divided by 7 has no remainder, it evaluates to 0, and we modulo it. Multiply two numbers together and assign the result to a variable called product. Product equals 2 times 2. What is the remainder when 1, save the results, we'll do remainder equals 1, 3, 9, 8, modulo 11, and then run it. Are we getting anything? Should probably print this. Maybe. Print products. Well, I guess we'll just take codeCademy's word for it that this is printing out. Or at least that it's getting the results it wants. Moving along, halfway done. Updating variables. Changing the contents of a variable is one of the essential operations. As the flow of a program progresses, data should be updated to reflect changes that have happened. So we got a variable, fish in Clark's pond equals 50, print catching fish, number of fish caught equals 10, fish in Clark's pond minus number of fish caught. In the above example, we start with 50 fish in a local pond. After catching 10 fish, we update the number of fish in the pond to be the original number of fish in the pond minus the number of fish caught. At the end of this code block, the variable fish in Clark's pond is equal to 40. Updating a variable by adding and subtracting a number to the original content of the variable has its own shorthand to make it faster and easier to read. Money in my wallet, $40. Sandwich price, $7.50. Sales tax equals 8% times the sandwich price. Sandwich price plus equals sales tax. Money in wallet is subtracted from the sandwich price. In the above example, we use the price of a sandwich to calculate sales tax. After calculating the tax, we add it to the total price of the sandwich. Finally, we complete the transaction by reducing our money in wallet by the cost of a sandwich with tax. We're trying to figure out how much it rained in the past year. Update the annual rainfall variable to include the values from September and December. Let's see what we got here. January to June rainfall. Annual rainfall. We're trying to figure out how much it rained in the past year. Update annual rainfall variable to include the values from. So let's do annual rainfall. Set the variable to September. Rainfall plus December rainfall. Right? You feel me? Did you add the remaining months to the variable? You did not. Annual rainfall. Maybe we're adding too much for one line. Rainfall plus equals December rainfall. Let's try again. Am I spelling these correctly? SEPTEM underscore rainfall DECEM rainfall. From September to I don't know how to write for loops in Python, so we'll just hard code out September. How many is it? September, October, November? Yeah, so it's just one more. Annual rainfall plus equals November and October. And I'm lazy, even if it's 2 lines of code. So let's run it. And we're clear. Okay. Most of the time, code should be written in such a way that is easy to understand on its own. However, if you want to include a piece of information to explain a part of your code, you can use the hashtag sign. A line of text preceded by a hashtag is a comment. The machine does not run this code. It is only for humans to read. When you look back at your code later, comments may help you figure out what it was intended to do. This variable counts how many rows of the spreadsheet we have. Row count equals 13. Add a comment above the declaration of city pop with the description of what you think the variable contains. City pop. I would guess this is a stretch. A long stretch. But I'm going to guess that it has something to do with the population of St. Petersburg. Add a comment above the declaration of city pop with the description of what you think variable contains. Petersburg. I wouldn't mind going to St. Petersburg one day. That would be pretty cool. Named after Tsar Peter. Peter. I don't know how it's pronounced. I don't speak Russian. Alright. Numbers, variables can also hold numeric values. The simplest kind of number in Python is the integer, which is a whole number with no decimal point. Int 1 equals 1, int 2 equals 10, int 3 equals -5. A number with a decimal point is called a float. You can define floats with numbers after the decimal point or by just including a decimal point at the end. Some floats here. You can also define a float using scientific notation with e, indicating the power of 10. You, or I, we are going shopping. Let's make a grocery list so that we can plan our budget. Store the number of cucumbers you want to buy in a variable called cucumbers. Make sure it's at least 1. Cucumbers, ones for beginners. We're doing 100 cucumbers. Make sure it's at least 1 and that it's appropriate data types. And that it's the appropriate data type. The store doesn't sell partial cucumbers. Each cucumber costs 3.25 doubloons. Store the price per cucumber. Variable named price per cucumber equals 3.25. When we create a new variable, total. Nope. Each cucumber costs 3, a variable called price per cucumber. Not spelled right. Let's say cucumbers, if that's what it wants us to run. Each cucumber costs 3.25 doubloons. Maybe it wants us to write out doubloons? That would just seem weird. Yeah, I thought that was strange. Alright, let's see. Alright. Probably had a space. Very bad code to have spaces after you've written something. Computers don't like that very much. I didn't read it. Anyways. Alright, let's see. Total cost. Let's set a new variable, total cost, which is the product of how many cucumbers you're going to buy. So the number of cucumbers and the cost per cucumber. Product price per cucumber. Like I said, with the space, let's see, it shouldn't. I think it'll have an issue with the space. Well, it didn't. Either way, spaces, having a bunch of empty space when you're running code, no bueno. Very bad. Now print out print total cost, and then we'll run it. 325. Two types of division. In Python 2, when we divide two integers, we get an integer as a result. When the quotient is a whole number, this works fine. However, if the numbers do not divide evenly, the result of the division is truncated into an integer. In other words, the quotient is rounded down to a whole number. This can be surprising when you expect to receive a decimal and you receive a rounded down integer. Quotient, 7 divided by 2. Value of the quotient is 3, even though the result of the division here is 3.5. To yield a float as the result instead, programmers often change either the numerator or denominator or both to be a float. Now, an alternative way is to use the float method. Alright, instructions. You have come home from the grocery store with 100 cucumbers to split amongst yourself and 5 roommates, 6 people in total. Create a variable, cucumbers, that holds 100, and another variable named num people that holds 6. Let's create a variable called whole, space it, whole cucumbers per person. That is the integer result of dividing cucumbers divided by num people. And then we'll print whole cucumbers per person. 16. You realize that the numbers don't divide evenly, and you don't want to throw out the remaining cucumbers. Create a variable called float cucumbers per person that holds the float result of dividing cucumbers by num people. And then we'll print float underscore cucumbers per person to the console. Let's see what we got. The wrong answer. Create a variable called float cucumbers per person that holds the float. So we can call the float of our 2 previous variables. Let's see if it wants to work. When we run it, still getting issues back. Numbers. The float result of dividing. Let's do 1 float divided by num people. And then run that. Float cucumbers per person. Float cucumber. I see. So we want the parenthesis here. I believe we want to call float on cucumbers and then just kind of divide num people. Let's get a hint. Float cucumbers per person. Cucumbers per person. Let's look at the bug. Let's get the pattern also for cucumber. Cucumber is not defined. Haha. Cucumbers is defined. Boom. 16.6666667 probably. Let's keep moving along. We have seen how to define a string with single quotes and with double quotes. If we want a string to span multiple lines, we can also use triple quotes. Address string. Whoa. I've never seen this before. We have seen how to define a string with single quotes and with double quotes. If we want a string to span multiple lines, we can use triple quotes. This address spans multiple lines and is still contained in one variable, address string. When a string like this is not assigned to a variable, it works as a multi-line comment. This can be helpful as your code gets more complex. Whoa. The following piece of code does the following steps. Takes in some input, does an important calculation, returns a modified input, and a string that says success or failure. Huh. And then we can have quotes inside of the quotes. What does that look like? I want to see what that looks like. Print. Alright. The following. success or failure. And then we run that. Huh. That's weird. Well, we create a variable named haiku. Well, it's not weird. It's just I haven't seen it before. So, it's new to me. Create a variable named called haiku and store this haiku as a multi-line string. Let's get rid of all that. The old pond. A frog jumps in. Plop. Master haiku artist. Why are there two? Yeah. This is a what? Multi-line string? Yeah. Interesting. Booleans. Sometimes we have a need for variables that are either true or false. This data type, which can only ever take one of two values, is called a Boolean. In Python, we define Booleans using the keywords true and false. A equals true is false. A Boolean is actually a special case of integer. A value of true corresponds to an integer value of 1 and will behave the same. A value of false corresponds with the integer value of 0. Seems like binary, where just something's on or off. Yes or no? True or false? Someone has introduced themselves to you using comments in a script.py. Read the comments, then create a variable called age is 12. Set it to true or false, depending on if this person's age is 12. Alright, let's see. Hi, I'm Maria, and I live in script.py. Core Maria. I'm an expert Python coder. I'm 21 years old, and I plan to program cool stuff forever. Age is not 12. It's a lie. It's a dirty, dirty lie. Capital F. Create a variable named name is Maria and set it equal to true or false. I'm going to set it to true. And we're cooking along. Python automatically assigns a variable the appropriate data type based on the value it is given. A variable with the value 7 is an integer. 7 dot is a float. 7 quotation marks is a string. Sometimes we will want to convert variables to different data types. For example, if we wanted to print out an integer as part of a string, we want to convert that integer to a string first. We can do that using str with parentheses. Age 13. I am string of age plus years old. This would print I am 13 years old. Similarly, if we have a string like 7 and we want to perform arithmetic operations on it, we must convert it to a numeric data type. We can do this using int parentheses. Number 1, 100, string addition, number 1 plus number 2, addition. Okay, so it's turning it into an integer. Yeah, if it's already a number. If you use int a floating number, it will round the number down to preserve the decimal. You can use float. Okay. Int float 7.5. Create a variable name called product that contains the result. Product contains the result of multiplying the float value float 1 and float 2. We'll run it. Create a string called big, let's do some space, big string that says the product was X with the value of the product is X. And then we'll run that. Create a string called big string that says the product Let's do str product. Space parentheses, and then run that. And we should add that together rather than just, leave it floating out there. Can we print it? Can we at least see what we did? Yep, nope. Maybe if we just print big string. Yep, the product was 10. Review, boom, we've made it. Great. So far we've looked at print statements, how to create, modify, and use variables, arithmetic operators like addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication, how to use comments to make your code easy to understand, different data types including strings, ints, floats, and booleans, converting between data types. Let's apply all the concepts you have learned one more time. Let's create a variable named skill completed and set it equal to Python syntax. And then we'll create a variable named exercises completed and set it equal to 13. And create another variable named points per exercise and set it equal to 5. Like that. Let's create a variable named point total and set it equal to 100. And last but not least, we'll update point total to what it was before plus the result of multiplying exercises completed and points per exercise equals, wait, update, okay, so update it, point total to be what it was before plus the result was before. So let's just say exercises completed and points per exercise, right? Maybe. Nope. It's currently 118. It should be multiplying. Boom. Add a comment above your declaration, points per exercise, that says the amount of points for each exercise may change because points don't exist yet. Run that. Wrong. Add a comment above your declaration of points for exercise, except string hashtag very picky code stuff. Alright, print a string to the console that says print I got str point total, nope, wrong thing, underscore total points. And then we'll want to add everything together. Run it. I got point total plus points. Let's try it again. I'm looking right here. It should be exclamation. Not 100%. sure why. This should be a space. Yeah. That's why I was going back and forth. Okay. Well, we did it. We got through it. All of the Python stuff. Well, that'll start our intro for Python. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.